Hi, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful Wednesday evening, the 10th of September. We are so excited to talk to you today about X39. So, I have been with Lifeway for 2.5 years now, and I am so excited to be here. Shamima, it also took me a year. I did sign up, but I did nothing for a year. I just used the product. I said to Merle in a conversation one day, I'm using these patches. I didn't even really have to try hard. She was like, "Oh, tell me more. I'll get some." I was like, "Really?" She said, "Yes, of course, but I'm not doing the business." I said, "Great. I don't want to do the business either." So we were teamed up not to do the business together. I was not a one patch wonder like I'd hoped. I did feel wonderful energy. I had no brain fog, so I could definitely feel the technology working. But I thought that my back injury was going to be miraculously healed and I would have a wonderful story to tell, which didn't happen. But I was curious. I love technology. I love learning how things work, and I love people and their stories. So Merle got great results within a couple of days, and then she patched somebody that was a one patch wonder. And then before she knew it, she had a business. So she was going for it. And I came to Zoom calls every week. And I got addicted to the stories of people having amazing results. So I knew that I had a lot of inflammation in my body, and I also knew that stem cells, once they're activated, they go to where the inflammation is. So I knew that at some level, some sort of healing was happening in my body, but it just wasn't my back yet. Long story short, 2.5 years later, I am pain free. I very rarely have any pain. And I was also diagnosed with a underactive thyroid and pre-diabetic. I have no diabetes, not pre-diabetic at all. And I also have a perfectly functioning thyroid. I didn't do anything besides patch every single day and drink lots of water. What I can say though is that patching has given me the strength to make healthier choices. And that has been amazing for me. As Mel will tell you, we were friends before, but she was also my nutritionist. So she saw the blood tests when I went and I was diagnosed with all those things. And then, of course, 16 months later, I got hold of her first and I couldn't wait to share my results. But today, what if I told you that there is a patch, yes, a simple patch that is helping people heal faster, feel younger, and live with more vitality than they thought possible? And what if I told you that at the same time, there's a unique chance to step into a wave of opportunity that is just the beginning? An opportunity to help humanity rise while creating freedom and abundance for yourself and your family. So that is exactly what we're talking about tonight. Let's go, Mo. So the big question is, and when you speak to people, you ask them, have you been patched yet? And generally, we wear a patch somewhere where people can see so that we can show them this amazing technology, how simple it is, and that it truly elevates, activates, and regenerates your body. So we can never talk about LifeWave without David Schmitz because he is the inventor of X39 and he is also the CEO, which doesn't normally happen in companies like this. But that's what makes LifeWave so unique because he's part of the process and he decided in the way that he wanted to spread the word of X39 and people to people. It's the best way to share information and especially good things. So he has over 200 patents. He shared the success and the celebrations in March this year. He specializes in age reversing, and in 2008, he focused his attention on stem cell research. This recent patent of X39 took 10 years and $4.5 million to bring to market. So we cannot have a patent without something that's proven. So you cannot patent a placebo. And I love that phrase because you just can't. But with this in the patent, here it says that this is a beneficial effect, at least by providing phototherapy to a human body, and for example, in some embodiments, as a result of elevating the copper peptide, including the activation of stem cells, improvements in energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing. So why would we want to use X39 stem cell activation, which is in a patch? Because I meet a lot of people that say, well, I'm young, fit, and healthy. Well, guess what? That does not last. We know that for sure. And that is because the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. And we all know that hundreds and billions of us are all experiencing aging. In fact, we experience it from the minute we're born. And at age 30, only half of our stem cells are active. By the time we get to age 60, they are all pretty much sleeping, the factories close down, and that is why we start aging, start noticing fine lines and wrinkles, and then start looking at appointments for Botox. Well, guess what? We don't have to go that way any longer. So how does it work? Well, firstly, it's a proprietary form of phototherapy. It has patented nanocrystal technology, which is this inside the patch here. And all it does is it reflects light to activate. The light comes from your body in the form of infrared. It's non-transdermal, so it's not like a nicotine patch where you're actually absorbing anything. It is literally just reflecting light and frequency back into your body. And that means there are no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, and it is completely non-invasive. In fact, if you seem to be allergic to the adhesive, you can actually stick it the other way around on your clothing so that the top side is facing in, and it will work just as well. So our benefits, just to name a few, we've got increased strength, mental clarity, in my case, a huge amount of reduced inflammation and restored muscle or skeletal conditions, increased stamina, improvements of sleep, energy and vitality, and improved skin appearance. We really can achieve optimal health and a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being by just placing one of these on our bodies every single day. So I love this topography map. I was actually listening to something the other day, and they were saying that this machine is actually hundreds of thousands of dollars. But on the right, you will see that 13 is highly inflamed and 6 with the blue is a lot less inflamed. So this is a 77-year-old lady that came in. You'll see in session 1, very red. She wasn't patching with X39. Hell of a lot of inflammation in the brain and complete lack of brain coherence. In session 2, she had been patching on the back of her neck with X39 for 3 weeks. You can very clearly see there is no more inflammation and there was an improvement in her brain coherence. Session 3, that's 6 weeks later, you can see it's even more improved, complete turnaround, and that's only 6 weeks. We've actually got a 90-day protocol, and for every decade you've been alive, that is how many months you should be patching. So I always like to tell people, come in and commit to patching for a year. Then at least you know, especially from my own experience, that they're going to get results. So some long-term results, and these case studies you can find on this is at info.com. But 4,000 genes begin to reset in the first few days. Like the previous photograph, brain becomes balanced within 6 weeks. Your collagen is increased within 3 months. That is amazing. And within 6 months, the heart reverses in age. One of my favorite quotes from David Schmidt, it's not anti-aging, it is age reversing. And for myself, coming from the hair and beauty industry, that is revolutionary. There was nothing that could claim that. Yes, we could make you look better and maybe slow down aging, but not to this degree. So how do we wear it? In all of the studies, they placed it either 2 fingers below the belly button or just below the neck, kind of in between the shoulder blades as the neck goes into the back. It's called CB17, if I'm right. And we wear this patch for 12 hours on and 12 hours off. It's really important that we are consistent with this because it has to be off for the same amount of time that it's on. You can throw the patch away, or we like to use it for our dogs or kids. And then we put a new patch on every single day, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. We drink plenty of water. And we can wear more than one patch at a time, meaning that we use X39 every single day, and then there's supplementary patches that you can add to your regime once you get into the habit of patching with X39 every day. So at this point in the presentation, we love to talk about the testimonies. And, I hung on for a year and I loved watching all the testimonies until I had my own. But if I could change anything, I would have just started sharing other people's testimonies and share the patch, because I feel like I did the world a disservice by keeping it to myself for such a long time. I feel quite selfish that I did that. And it was just because my ego, and I didn't want to be judged for being a network marketer. And don't allow that to happen. Don't allow your ego to get in the way of your dreams and other people's health and wellness, because we really owe to the world what these patches can do.
Thanks, Candice. I just want to say, Angela said there's very low volume. You need to turn up your volume, Angela. Everybody else can hear. It's not a volume issue. So I can hear Candice perfectly. So turn the volume up on your computer or your whatever device you're using. Can everybody else hear fine? Yeah. Okay, so Angela, it's an issue with your device. Perfect. All right. Who would like to share first their testimony? Because I know there are amazing testimonies on this. If I look at the names, I know who's got incredible testimonies. So let's see who would like to volunteer. Like Candice said, her healing took longer. My shoulder improved dramatically in the first week, but it actually took 2 years to be completely healed because I had setbacks, and it's something called repatterning. So it gets a whole lot better, and then it feels like it's getting worse again, and you think, oh my goodness, what's going on? Is it not healing? But in actual fact, if you think of your body like an onion, I'm peeling the onion, and every layer is deeper healing. So my shoulder is 100% now, and I'd injured it in 2012. And then in the first 4 months, my thyroid improved. So I still take thyroid medication, but I take less than I used to take because my blood tests showed a change in 4 months. But then my husband thought nothing was happening, but he kept patching. And you might have noticed if you're on the group that he says I patch him like a Dalmatian. He does use quite a lot of patches now, but his amazing healing that he didn't expect happened 2 years in because his hereditary gum disease is no longer there. His dentist is amazed. He's never seen pyorrhea reverse ever. And Des doesn't have it anymore, and he's had it since he was a teenager. His mom had it, his late mom had it, his sister had it, has it, his late sister had it, and it's something that you can't get rid of, except you can, because once your stem cells activate, anything can heal. So that's me. Okay, got it fixed, Angela, perfect. So who else would like to share? Caroline, that'd be wonderful.
I'm always happy to share. I came in a year and a half ago, and as everyone else here on the call, probably a little bit intrigued by this little patch and what it could do, and thinking, can it really be true? But also realized that's only one way to find out, and that's to give it a go. I had a particular problem I wanted to solve, which was a bad knee, and it had been bothering me for a good many years, and I had tried everything alternative to heal it. I'm a homeopath myself, but I'd seen loads of different practitioners to try and sort it out. So I started patching, and I wasn't a one patch wonder. I didn't really feel much in the beginning, and I thought, I'm hoping I'm going to start feeling something. And then I did, a couple of weeks in, I started thinking, I am very, very rested when I wake up in the morning, and I feel like I've been sleeping all night, which is also a little bit unusual for me. And I think one of the things that had started to creep in, and I hadn't really noticed how much it was affecting me, was that I had pain in the night, pain in my joints, pain in my hands, pain in my shoulders and my neck, just subtle pain. I didn't go to bed with pain, but I woke up with pain in the middle of the night. And I think I just gotten used to it, and really that's how it was. And then suddenly it wasn't there. So I had no pain when I was turning my head at night. I had great sleep, and I was really energized when I woke up in the morning as well. The dreams were there. I could remember them. And so that was the first thing that happened. And it probably happened a good 3 weeks into patching. Then I got really excited because I knew that something was going on in my body. And by around the 3-month mark, I had my knee sorted. I could bend my knee and I could squat. Something I never thought I was going to do again. You know, I'm 67 now, and I just didn't think that was going to happen in my life, that I could actually sit down and get up without using, crabbing onto my all four and pushing off. I could literally just get up again. And I've done it with quite a lot of my friends and family, and I'm surprised how few people can actually do that, even much younger than me. So I was really pleased with that. Then I noticed all sorts of other things creeping in, like my lower back was better. I could sit doing yoga without a yoga block. There was nothing. I was just completely straight, and patched. Obviously, some of my patients as well started patching. I had amazing results with both eczema, lots of pain. My husband was a bit reluctant to start patching, but once he felt the energy that he got from it, he was just like so hooked. And he's also got horses, so he's very keen to use it. His riding has really done his hip in, and also driving motorbikes and kickstarting a motorbike, and that hip's just completely resolved itself. So yeah, loving this patch, loving the journey, loving working with LifeWave. I think it's an amazing company. I feel so supported here. I've met so many lovely friends, and it feels like you're really part of a special community. And I wouldn't change it for anything. Yeah, I'm a patcher for life.
Thanks, Caroline. I think most of us are patches for life. Once you feel the benefit, you don't ever want to stop. It's
No,
not something you're going to give up easily,
no.
especially as we get older.
Yeah, well, this is it. I can feel there's such a difference to how I was just a year ago. So, yeah, I don't want to go back to that.
Who else would like to share? Liz, that'll be great. Do you want to unmute?
Yes.
Mhm.
Hi there. I'm Liz. I've been patching since November last year, and I normally tell the story about my rotator cuff injury that literally within 2, 3 days of patching, um, the restrictions that I'd been experiencing had lifted, and I was able to engage in a whole weekend of yoga and dance, which was fantastic. It continued to improve to this point where it's absolutely healed and perfect. I did a yoga class this morning, and I just am so amazed at the core strength that I seem to have regained after 8, 9 months of patching. But on the theme of knees, Caroline, that you started, um, today Sabrina and I were just laughing because she was trying to find her sore knee that had been bothering her for so long, and it's just gone. And Sabrina, one day she'll come on screen, but she's only been patching 2 weeks. And the sore knee is no longer sore. And we got talking about, knees and laughing at another friend of ours who started patching because she'd been told that she needed to have knee surgery. And we were chatting the other day, and she was saying, "Oh, there's lots of little things that she's noticed." And then she suddenly remembered, "Oh my goodness, my knee doesn't hurt. I haven't had to have an operation." So these shifts are so subtle and obvious, and yet because we're so busy with life, we often, I think, we don't even realize just how much is changing until you really stop and assess what life felt like
Mhm.
a couple of months ago. And there was another friend whose husband started patching because he has a real serious kidney issue. Sorry, not kidney. Yes, kidney issue. And he started patching, and it's having great results with him. And so she's been wearing the patch the next morning for 6 hours because she has a knee problem, and she had been to the specialist who said she needed to have an operation to sort her knee out, and that she would be laid off. She wouldn't be able to stand and trade at markets for 9 weeks, which was like almost impossible in her life. And she told me when the date was, and I said, "Well, look, patch anyway, because it will help with the healing after. So even if you're doing, just 6 hours of the secondary patch, it's going to help. And I contacted her a few days before to say good luck for your op next week. And she said, oh, no, I'm not having it. And I said, why not? And she said, well, it's not hurting. And I spoke to the specialist, and he said, well, if it's not hurting, we're not operating. So, and that was not even on a first-hand patch. That was on a second-hand patch. She's managed to avoid an operation. So, yeah, the stories coming from everywhere. That if one is consistent, even on a 6-hour dosage, it's or a 6-hour patching, it actually does impact. Yeah. And this
Absolutely.
morning, one last little, this morning for the first time, Sabrina and I patched, she's probably 79, 80 years old, and she's a bass guitarist, and she's been a muso all her life, and she's got arthritis and a very sore thumb, and it's the hand that, does all the big work on the guitar. And I knew she was rehearsing this afternoon and has a big show tomorrow. So I said to her, look, please, can we come and patch? And we put an ice wave on it right away. We placed the tan patch on the sore point, and immediately she said, oh, I can feel it's like bubbling. She could feel a sensation. And then we ended up by putting the other patch right up on her shoulder, because she said the pain went right up her arm into her shoulder. And I've just had a message from her tonight to say the pain in her shoulder's gone, and this has diminished. It's not gone completely, but she was very painful yesterday. Yeah. So yeah,
It's
it's
amazing.
incredible.
The stories
Yeah.
really are incredible, and we just love what we
Yeah.
hear always.
Mm.
Nina, did you want to share? You turned your camera on.
Yeah. Liz, you reminded me.
No, you've muted yourself, Nina.
Okay, sorry. I was just saying, Liz, you reminded me of a customer of mine who he started patching in December. He was due to have a hip replacement in April. And when he saw the specialist in March, he was completely pain-free. The specialist looked at the x-rays and said, there's no difference. It's looking terrible. And he said, well, I don't have any pain, so I'm not having the op. And he's running marathons, and he's got a bone spur on the hip, which bothers him a little bit, but he doesn't care about it. If he can avoid the op permanently, he will. So it's really quite fantastic, yeah.
And I'm sure he will have healing over time.
Yeah, I think so
Please.
too. Yeah. He's only using X39. I guess at some point maybe he'll agree to do Eon and glutathione as well, and that could also make a difference.
Definitely. But I mean, we know that we have a couple of people whose osteoporosis is reversed, and they say that can't happen. So if their osteoporosis can reverse, then there's a pharmacist in Vryheid who's avoided 2 knee replacements from doing that Eon glutathione patching on each side of her knee. She did it for a year along with X39, and she's avoided both knee replacements. She's in her mid-70s. So incredible stories. Okay, let's jump back into the presentation.
So for any more information, you can go to thisisatinfo.com. There you will find every interesting bit of information that there is about X39. Everything on that website is also compliant. So the testimonials can be shared. And then also you'll be able to, for people that want to know more about the sciencey stuff, the PubMeds, everything is in there. So I just like to give them a little bit of a roadmap instead of just giving them the link. I'll always share the link and then say, check out the second video and the fourth video, or, go here. Whatever I feel is going to speak to them, I'll tell them where to go instead of just sending the link. Because if you're anything like me, if I get a link and I open it and there's just so much information, I'll just rather close it again and look at it another time, which probably never happens.
Thanks, Candice. And that's so
Pleasure.
important. I see that we'll answer questions afterwards because I saw there was a question about product, but we'll get to that after the presentation. Okay, so as Candice said, when we started, we both decided that we weren't building a business. We were just going to patch. And of course, the irony is that there are 4 senior presidential directors in South Africa, and we are 2 of them. So we both hold the top rank in the company. And it happened because the product's so amazing, not because we set out to build a business. However, now that we know what we know about the product, we definitely would recommend that anybody who starts patching, who thinks, oh, it's a bit expensive, how am I going to do this, that you actually look at it as a business opportunity because it's changed both of our lives. So when I decided that I was going to start telling people about the product, I thought, okay, I've had a bad experience with the network marketing before. Best I have a look at this company to see where we're at. So we both started patching in 2022, so it was 2023. At that stage, we were a 19-year-old company. We turned 20 last year, and in November this year, we turned 21. So we're now open in over 80 countries. And the very exciting thing, because of the patent that Can spoke about, we're not a Me Too product because we've got 15 years left on the patent for X39, so nobody can copy what we have. So there are other amazing companies out there, but if they've got a great weight loss product and they say, well, I've got this weight loss product, somebody else is going to say, well, I've got one too. And then when they're really short on money, they're going to go and buy a shake in their local supermarket. The quality might not be as good. They're not really going to look at the ingredients, but they can get it there. If you buy LifeWave patches anywhere, so for example, my local pharmacy stock them, you're going to pay a recommended retail price because they're a brand partner, just like we are. And the company regulations are that if they retail, it has to be at recommended retail price, which is a whole lot more than you're going to get from a brand partner. And they can only do that, only sell them because they're a brand partner. And of course, they use the product in their clinic because it's so amazing. But no one is going to walk into a shop and look at LifeWave on a shelf. So if you saw the sleeve of patches on a shelf, you're hardly going to buy it because you're not going to know what it is. And these testimonies and people telling other people about the product is really what moves the company. So X39 came to market in 2020. In 2021, the company did a $20 million turnover, which is what it had been doing for several years, which is not a bad turnover at all. I mean, 20 million a year is pretty good. But in 2022, in July, Steve and Gina Merritt, who head this is a team that we belong to, joined LifeWave. So along with X39 and the patent, Steve and Gina put a system into place that is a plug-and-play system. We know everybody knows exactly what to do, and we're going to tell you where to find all that information just now. And so the company's turnover went from 20 million to 320 million. So that's a big jump, 300 million in a year. In 2023, we did over 430 million. Last year was over 600 million, and we're on track to do over $1 billion this year. And the interesting thing about it all is the team we belong to, which is only just over 3 years old, is responsible for 65% of the company's turnover worldwide. So how's that? 65% of the company's turnover comes from one team. And in a company that's turning 21, the team that produces that is not even 4 years old. So it just shows you don't have to have been in the company from the beginning to make the most money, which is what people always think about multi-level marketing. It doesn't work like that in LifeWave. So we also ranked on businessforhome.org, which is an American website, as the #1 momentum company in the world in network marketing. We are in the top 25 companies in the world, turnover-wise, but our momentum is #1, and it has been that for the last 2 years. So in 2024, we won the Global Bravo Award as the #1 momentum company in network marketing, and in 2025, we won it again. And that's Meredith Burkich, our president, right in the middle there, and Steve and Gina are on her right-hand side. And they head our team, and then everybody else on that picture are part of the corporate team. So at this point in the presentation, we always ask, what is the most important thing in your life? So why are you on this call today? If you spoke to Candice and I when we started, there were no calls, by the way. So we just started because we both saw a video Candice showed me a video of David Schmidt talking to healthcare professionals, and that was all I needed. I mean, she saw the little video on how the patch works with light, and that was enough for her. So we both said we wanted better health. That was all we were interested in. But in actual fact, you might be here because you want more time with your family, because many people are on the hamster wheel and the wheel just goes, because if you take time out, you're not necessarily earning. And that was definitely me, because I had my own business. I was a nutritionist and a therapist. If I wasn't working and I wasn't with clients, I didn't earn money. So I didn't have security. I definitely hadn't traveled in a very long time, not since 2015 when I'd gone to Vietnam. And I'm about to leave tomorrow for the UK, and it is my 4th trip this year with LifeWave. Better health was all I wanted, as I said. And we, after COVID, living in South Africa and not having any support, and my husband not having work the whole way through COVID, we had a huge amount of debt. And I didn't know how we were going to get out of it, but I just thought, well, I'd have to see more clients and work harder. Well, in LifeWave, we work smarter and we are really compensated for it. So how do we get compensated in LifeWave? First of all, we build teams. We love teams. So when you come into LifeWave, you are going to be put either on the right or the left team. So when I came in, Candice put me on her right leg. So I was in her right team. And we build a binary. So that's just left and right. And as soon as you bring in 4 people, 2 on your left, 2 on your right, you become what's known as a manager. And we always say the manager is the most important rank in the company because it opens up the whole team commission structure. And that team commission structure is capped for the top ranks at $25,000 a week. So not a month or a year, but a week. So there are many people that we know personally who are maxing out that $25,000 every single week. We're not there yet, but we can tell you that we know plenty of people who are and who've got there very quickly. So that's one of the ways we earn. So that's just one way. And when we came in, well, I said, I'm just going to go onto the binary, not because I'm going to build a business, but because I want wholesale price and I want to be able to buy as and when I choose, which is why I became a brand partner. Because if I'd become a preferred customer, I would have still got wholesale price, but I would have had to have a recurring order happening every month. And I thought that's not the way for me. And I'm really, really pleased that I did come in, because when I started building, I had then benefited from what we call spillover. So spillover means that the people who are above you on the leg that you come in on, as they place people, they drop down underneath you and they add to what's called your business volume. So we build together and you'll see people appearing in your team that you don't necessarily even know and adding to your income. Then we have something called matching bonuses. And I think this is even more exciting because what happens with matching bonuses is that we get rewarded for helping the people who come in underneath us. So Candice is my sponsor. That means that I'm her first line. So every time I get a cycle, Candice gets 25% of my cycle, but not from my money. The company says, you've done a great job, you brought Merle into the business, or you've mentored her, or whatever it is that you've done, well, you've brought her in on that line, you're going to get 25%. So if I earn $1,000 a week on the binary, Candice will get $250, but I will still get $1,000. Then anybody that I brought in, so Nina is my first line, so let's use Nina as an example. I brought Nina in. Nina's my first line. I get 25% on everything Nina does, and Cans gets 20% because she's then Cans' second line. And whoever Nina brings in is my second line and Candice's third line. And this goes 3 lines down, and it's unlimited. So if you've brought in 20 people who are all building, and some of them are getting 1 cycle a week, some might be getting 30 cycles a week, you will get 25% for all of those 30 people. And it all starts adding up. And as long as you're a manager, you tap into the matching bonuses. So Candice will tell you that although she didn't build for a while, she became a manager. And so she tapped in to cycle bonuses or the cycle match from the people who were underneath her. And of course, once she saw what everybody else was doing, she decided, and had a result, she decided I better start building a business. So that was how it happened. And Candice can talk about that just now because it's always amazing to know that you don't have to be the first person to build. I know that Caroline today has somebody who a year down the line has signed up 2 people. So you can decide to build at any stage of your journey. And if you stay active, you're going to be collecting volume. So how do you come into LifeWave? I always say you come in where you fit in. So when I joined, I was never going to build a business. So I thought, well, I'll come in on core. It's going to cost me $295. I'll get 3 sleeves of patches. I'll patch myself, I'll patch Des, and then we'll have a third sleeve that we can use for 2 weeks into the next month. Well, a friend ended up buying that sleeve, so I had to upgrade before that month was out because I didn't want to run out of product. I already had a result with my shoulder. And that's the great thing with LifeWave is you can upgrade to the next pack and you just pay the difference and you get the difference in product. If I knew what I knew now, I would have started on at least advanced and I would have started telling everybody straight away. Because on advanced, well, you need to be on advanced to go manager, or you need 300 lifetime volume. And it's $535 and get 6 sleeves of X39. So already you're getting a nice discount because your 6th sleeve is only costing you $35 instead of $100. But you can also replace any one sleeve of X39 with 2 sleeves of supplementary patches. So they also become cheaper. Instead of $69, you're going to be getting them for $50. Now, if you're a really serious entrepreneur, you can come in on premium. Premium means you won't need to buy any product for 3 months. And for $1,750, you'll get 20 sleeves of X39. So the price is going to drop to $87.50 a sleeve. Now, for anybody coming in as a brand partner, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. But it's a business. So we need to move product. And so to keep your volume on the binary and to be able to earn, until you're a manager, you need to buy 1 sleeve of patches a month. Once you're a manager, you need 2 sleeves of patches a month to stay active. And that's all the way to senior presidential director. You don't need more than that. And that's what I love about LifeWave, because I always say that when my in-laws passed away and I had to pack up their home, in the garage, I found boxes of furniture polish, boxes. And it was from a network marketing company or multi-level marketing company they'd belonged to probably 30 years before, where they had to keep buying product. In LifeWave, you don't have to do that because the product you're buying every month is the product you're using. So if you're a single person and you need 2 sleeves a month, you can get an X39 and an X49. So you're getting your 2 sleeves a month, but they're 2 different patches. So you don't have to have product that is going to be sitting around forever that nobody's using. And that's what I really, really love about LifeWave, is that the product that we need is the product we actually use. And most of us buy supplementary patches too. So we actually buy a lot more than we need to buy because the product is so amazing. So Candice told you about thisisatinfo.com. We also have a site called thisisateam.com. And it's like if you were buying a franchise, you would get all the information about how your franchise worked. You would get webinars, you would get manuals, etc. This is a team, is the information on how LifeWave works, put together again by Steve and Gina for us. And on there, you will find webinars about the compensation plan. I've gone over it really quickly, but you can go and watch Steve Merritt talk about it. You can watch Danny McDaniel talk about it. So you can watch 2 different webinars. They're probably an hour each, and they're going to give you a very detailed view on how the compensation plan works. You can also go and watch Steve explaining how you should build a business. These onboarding videos that are like a couple of minutes each, how we swap from side to side on the binary, how we enroll somebody, everything is there for you. So if you spend some time on there every day, going through all the material that's been put together for you, you will have such a good grasp on what's happening in the back office and how the business works. So it's all done for you. And if you just follow that system, you can't not succeed. When we started, we didn't have a site like that. We had to figure it out. But now it's a perfect place to plug everybody in and you just duplicate. Because if you become a pointer and you show your new people where to find the information, they can do what you're doing. You don't have to do it for them. And that's what's so amazing about LifeWave. So the time is now to make your move. Are you serious about your dream? What is your dream? For us, it was better health, but I can tell you that anything you want, you can get from LifeWave. There is hope for your future, and it's all about getting started with X39. So going back to the person who invited you to the call and asking them, how do I get started? And they'll help you with what products you need, where to go, and everything you need to take forward. So thanks, Candice, for presenting with me this evening. It was a really great presentation.
Always a pleasure, Merle. And I just want to say, one thing that George told me as my sponsor, which I mean, I'm forever grateful that he begged me for 4 months. Let me just put that out there. But I'm also very grateful that when I told him that I was not going to build the business, he said to me, whatever you do, just make sure you keep your account active. Because what's going to happen is people are going to be building, you're going to get points, and one of these days you are going to decide to build, and then you'll have all this money available to you. So I didn't even know what he was talking about back then, but I did. I made sure that every single month I was getting my patches, again, because I wanted to be consistent with them. And Merle's right. When I became a manager, because I did, very little to make everyone around me happy, and then I stopped because I didn't want to get any further than manager. Manager was where I thought everyone would leave me alone. So silly, isn't it? And Merle started earning. And like she showed you in the cycle matches, I started earning as a result of that. And what I loved about that process was that she was earning more than me. So it killed any kind of worry that I had about a pyramid scheme. That just put that to bed straight away, because if I'm above Merle and she's earning more than me, how can it be a pyramid scheme? So I love the fact that LifeWave rewards people for the work they do. And when I decided, oh my gosh, you've actually got this golden goose sitting in your lap, it's been in your lap for a year, get with the program, I literally went from manager straight to SPD because of the points that I had. So even if you're not sure, make sure you on that monthly subscription order, because then no matter what's happening around you, you will have those points that gather. And also that $25 yearly membership fee, put a reminder on your calendar. You do get an email, but that's also something that you don't want to lose out. You've got 30 days, but if you don't pay that at the right time, you will also lose everything. So very, very important. Was the best advice that I could have gotten from George, because he obviously knew that I would build at some point or another. So yeah, don't wait.
That was a wonderful call, everybody. So thank you for that.